The voice of scarcity has whispered doubts into your heart, telling you that true abundance is for others, that financial peace is a distant dream. But today we're going to dismantle that lie, revealing the divine truth that you are designed for prosperity, not just in spirit, but in every area of your life, including your finances. This isn't about mere money. It's about unlocking the boundless potential God has placed within you to not only thrive, but to be a conduit of blessing to the world. For too long, many of us have quietly accepted a narrative of lack, believing that our circumstances are fixed, or that true wealth is a matter of luck or a sudden dramatic breakthrough. We've looked outward, blaming the economy, our upbringing, or even just a string of bad breaks. But the profound truth, the one that will set you free, is that your financial destiny, your capacity for abundance, is far more intimately connected to your internal world, your mindset, and the daily disciplines you embrace than any external factor. It's a journey of cultivating a rich, fertile inner landscape where seeds of divine possibility can take root and flourish. Imagine for a moment a master gardener, not just tending to a few plants, but nurturing an entire ecosystem. They understand that a single harvest doesn't come from one grand gesture, but from consistent small actions, the daily watering, the vigilant weeding, the patient observation of soil and light. Our financial lives are much the same. They are not defined by a single windfall, but by the accumulation of countless small intentional decisions rooted in faith and responsibility. This journey begins not with a bank account, but with a belief system, a profound conviction in the limitless potential God has entrusted to you. Have you ever felt trapped in a cycle of financial struggle, wondering if you were simply missing some secret formula or if abundance was reserved for a select few? That gnawing feeling, that subtle whisper of not enough, is a powerful barrier. It's a diagnosis of a deeper spiritual and mental condition that subtly sabotages our efforts before they even begin. We often approach wealth building as a purely external problem. I need more money, I need a better job, I need a lucky break. But the root of the challenge often lies within, in the limiting beliefs we unknowingly harbor, the stories we tell ourselves about money, success, and our own worth. Consider the parable of the talents. The master entrusted different amounts to his servants, but it was their belief in their ability to multiply what they were given and their willingness to act on that belief that determined their outcome. The one who buried his talent was paralyzed not by lack of resource, but by fear and a distorted view of his master. This resonates deeply with our own financial journeys. We may have been given talents, skills, opportunities, but if we bury them under layers of doubt, fear of failure, or a scarcity mindset, we prevent the divine multiplication that is our inheritance. The first step towards transformation isn't to chase more, but to acknowledge and confront these internal barriers. It's about recognizing that every single financial decision, every habit you form, is a reflection of your deepest beliefs about yourself and about God's provision. To truly begin this journey, I invite you to take a moment right now. Close your eyes and simply ask yourself, what is the deepest, most persistent belief I hold about money and my own capacity for abundance? Be honest with yourself. Then, share that insight in the comments below. Let this be the first step in a powerful conversation, a declaration that you are ready to unearth and transform those hidden narratives. And if this message even whispers to your spirit, consider joining our community by subscribing, so we can continue this journey of faith and transformation together. One of the most insidious obstacles on the path to financial freedom is the habit of externalizing blame. We look at our bank statements, our debt, our missed opportunities, and we quickly point fingers. The economy is bad. My boss doesn't appreciate me. I never got the same chances as others. This isn't just a convenient excuse. It's a spiritual paralysis that robs us of our agency and our power to change. When we refuse to take full, radical responsibility for our financial situation, we effectively hand over the reins of our destiny to circumstances or to other people. We become passengers in our own lives, waiting for someone or something else to rescue us. But the divine truth is, God has given you the power to choose, to act, to learn, and to adapt. He has given you the ultimate responsibility for the stewardship of your life, including your resources. I remember a woman named Eleanor, a vibrant soul in her late 50s, who had spent decades living paycheck to paycheck, always convinced that her financial woes were the fault of her ex-husband, or the unfair job market, or simply bad luck. Her story was one of constant complaint, a narrative of victimhood. She'd always say, "I just can't catch a break." But one day, after a particularly difficult setback, something shifted within her. She hit a spiritual bottom, realizing that her constant blaming was only deepening her own despair. She chose to look inward, to acknowledge that while external factors existed, her response to them was entirely her own. She began to educate herself, to manage the little she had with meticulous care, and to seek out new skills. It wasn't an overnight change, but a slow, deliberate turning of the ship. She started by tracking every penny, then by setting small, achievable savings goals, and eventually by taking courses in a new field that paid significantly more. Her story isn't one of a sudden inheritance, but of a profound spiritual awakening to personal responsibility, which then unlocked a new path to financial stability. Another formidable obstacle, deeply intertwined with the first, is the pervasive power of limiting beliefs. These are the quiet, often unconscious convictions that tell us we are not capable, not worthy, or that certain things are simply not possible for us. Perhaps you've heard the whispers, "Money is the root of all evil. I'm just not good with numbers. Rich people are greedy," or "I'll never be wealthy." These aren't just thoughts. They are deeply ingrained programs that dictate our actions and repel the very abundance we claim to desire. This is where a surprising revelation comes into play. Many of these limiting beliefs are not from God, nor are they based in reality. They are often inherited from our upbringing, societal conditioning, or past failures. They are spiritual strongholds that need to be identified and dismantled. The Bible tells us in Philippians 4:8 to focus on whatever is true, noble, right, pure, lovely, admirable, excellent, or praiseworthy. This isn't just good advice for our thoughts, it's a blueprint for our financial mindset. If we constantly dwell on scarcity, lack, and our perceived inadequacies, we are actively building walls against God's provision. Imagine a young artist, incredibly talented, but convinced that art doesn't pay the bills. This belief, though common, would prevent him from marketing his work, from seeing opportunities, and from valuing his own creations. He might even subconsciously undervalue his art, driving away potential buyers. The practical application of this truth is to actively, intentionally, and prayerfully challenge every negative thought about money and abundance that enters your mind. When the thought, "I can't afford that," arises, replace it with, "How can I create the capacity to afford that?" When "I'm not good with money" surfaces, counter it with, "I am learning to be a wise steward of God's resources." This isn't just positive thinking. It's spiritual warfare against the lies that keep you bound. It's an act of faith to believe in God's limitless provision for you, even when your current circumstances whisper otherwise. This brings us to a crucial spiritual turning point, a profound moment of realization that shifts our entire perspective. The central biblical truth here is found in 3 John 1:2. "Beloved, I pray that you may prosper in all things and be in health, just as your soul prospers." This isn't just a wish. It's a declaration of God's desire for your holistic well-being, including your financial health. The key is the phrase, "just as your soul prospers." This reveals the deep interconnectedness between our spiritual state and our external reality. True prosperity begins in the soul, in a spirit aligned with God's abundance, free from the chains of fear and scarcity. This truth demands an inner transformation, a fundamental rewiring of how we perceive wealth, not as something fleeting or earned solely by human effort, but as a byproduct of a spirit that is in harmony with divine principles. It's about recognizing that God isn't just interested in your spiritual growth, He's interested in your ability to be a blessing, and often that requires resources. Think of a barren plot of land. No matter how much you water it, if the soil itself is toxic or devoid of nutrients, nothing will grow. Our souls are that soil. If our inner landscape is filled with resentment, fear, envy, or a scarcity mindset, then even when opportunities arise, we lack the spiritual fertility to cultivate them into abundance. The transformation begins when we stop seeing money as a separate entity and start viewing it as a tool, a resource, a means for greater good, entrusted to us by a generous God. It's about cultivating gratitude for what we do have, no matter how small, and trusting that God will multiply our efforts when our hearts are aligned with His will. This inner shift unlocks a new level of potential, preparing us to receive and wisely manage the blessings that are already on their way. With this new perspective, a powerful reorientation takes place. We begin to see our skills, our talents, and our continuous growth not just as personal achievements, but as divine investments. The world is constantly evolving, and success in any field, including financial well-being, demands a commitment to lifelong learning and adaptation. This means actively investing in your skills, both hard and soft, making yourself indispensable, and increasing your market value. This isn't about chasing fleeting trends. It's about discerning where God is leading you to grow, where your unique gifts can be best utilized and amplified. Consider the testimony of a man named Michael. For years, Michael worked in a stable but stagnant industry, feeling unfulfilled and financially constrained. He felt stuck, believing his skills were limited to his current role. But after a period of deep prayer and reflection, he felt a strong call to explore a new field entirely: digital marketing, a world he knew nothing about. It felt daunting, almost foolish to start over. But he committed to it, seeing it as an act of faith. He spent his evenings and weekends taking online courses, attending workshops, and networking with people in the industry. He wasn't just learning new technical skills, he was cultivating resilience, adaptability, and a proactive mindset. He wasn't just investing money in courses, he was investing time, energy, and unwavering belief in his potential. Within a few years, Michael transitioned fully into this new career, not only earning significantly more but also finding a profound sense of purpose and fulfillment. His story is a powerful illustration that God often calls us to step out of our comfort zones, to acquire new knowledge and abilities, not just for our own benefit, but so we can serve a larger purpose and become better stewards of the opportunities He presents. This expansive application means recognizing that every skill learned, every piece of knowledge gained, is a divine tool that can be used to build, to create, and to bless. Now let's talk about turning these profound truths into tangible action. The journey to financial freedom, under God's guidance, requires clear, intentional steps. First, set specific, measurable financial goals. Don't just wish for more money. Define what more money looks like. Do you want to save a certain amount for an emergency fund? Pay off a specific debt? Invest in a particular asset? Write these goals down. Make them real. Proverbs 21:5 tells us, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance, but everyone who is hasty comes only to poverty." Diligence implies clear planning and consistent action. Second, surround yourself with success. This isn't about superficial networking. It's about intentionally cultivating relationships with individuals who inspire you, who challenge you to grow, and who embody the principles of financial wisdom and faith. Just as iron sharpens iron, positive influences can elevate your mindset and accelerate your progress. Seek out mentors, join communities, and engage in conversations that uplift and educate you. Third, manage your time effectively. Time is your most precious, non-renewable resource, and how you invest it directly impacts your financial future. Prioritize tasks that move you closer to your goals, eliminate procrastination, and build boundaries around your time to protect your focus. This includes carving out time for learning, planning, and even rest, knowing that a renewed spirit is a productive spirit. Fourth, continuously learn and adapt. The financial landscape is always changing. Stay informed about market trends, new technologies, and evolving opportunities. Embrace change, learn from your mistakes, and remain flexible in your strategies. This isn't just about financial literacy. It's about spiritual discernment, understanding the times and knowing how to respond with wisdom and faith. This renewed vision invites you to see yourself not as a victim of circumstance, but as an active co-creator with God, strategically building a life of purpose and prosperity. As we consolidate this journey, remember that building a wealthy mindset and achieving financial freedom is not a destination, but a continuous pilgrimage of faith, discipline, and growth. It's about understanding that every small, consistent action you take, rooted in prayer and aligned with divine principles, compounds over time into something truly remarkable. This is the vision of your future, a life where you are not just financially secure but deeply fulfilled, free to pursue your God-given purpose without the constant burden of financial anxiety. Imagine a life where you are not merely surviving, but thriving, abundantly equipped to be a generous giver, a powerful blessing to your family, your community, and the world. This isn't a fantasy. It's the promise of a life lived in alignment with God's design for prosperity. It requires you to release the old narratives of scarcity, to embrace your divine potential, and to commit to the daily habits that build enduring wealth, not just in your bank account, but in your spirit. The path is clear, the tools are available, and the divine support is unwavering. So what specific, actionable step are you going to take today, right now, to cultivate your wealthy mindset and move closer to the financial freedom God desires for you? Don't let this simply be another video you watched. Make it a turning point. Share your commitment in the comments below. Declare it to God and to this community. Let us know one specific habit you will start or one limiting belief you will challenge this week. Your journey is unique, but you are not alone on this path. Let's build together, in faith and in purpose.